Hi, my name is Stephanie from the Finance Art Institute, and this is an introduction to ethics and biases in AI models. In honor of Black History Month, we're going to look at racial biases introduced in a machine learning model used in the US criminal justice system. This introduction is based on an article published by ProPublica Journal called Machine Bias. There is software used across the country to predict future criminals, and it's biased against blacks. I encourage you to read it yourselves. The URL is in the caption of this post. This article is from 2016 and the model has likely changed since then. However, this is a good example on how biases can be introduced by AI models and their impact on people's lives. We will also briefly look at a more recent article published in nature.com on a model used in healthcare which systematically favored white patients over black patients for reference for additional help. The ProPublica article analyzes how an algorithm used in a risk assessment on defendants' prediction of their likelihood of reoffending is biased against black people. This risk assessment score subsequently has an impact on their sentencing, whereby a higher risk score would result in a higher sentence. These types of machine learning algorithms are being increasingly used in all areas of life to support important life-altering decisions, such as gravity of sentencing given by a judge. This algorithm is called COMPAS and is proprietary, meaning that no one outside the company knows exactly how it works and what its logic is for assigning a risk score. The COMPAS algorithm original mission was to lessen biases in pretrial sentencing. However, based on ProPublica analysis, it achieved the opposite. The article says that the core product is a set of scores derived from 137 questions that are either answered by defendants or pulled from their criminal records. Race is not one of the questions. However, some proxy questions are asked where specific answers would be more prevalent in a racial group, therefore profiling the defendant's race indirectly. The article mentions that the survey asks defendants such things as: was one of your parents ever sent to jail or prison? How many of your friends, acquaintances are taking drugs illegally? And how often did you get in fights while at school? The questionnaire also asks people to agree or disagree with statements such as, a hungry person has a right to steal, and if people make me angry or lose my temper, I can be dangerous. Then judges will increase or reduce the sentence based on the risk score produced by the algorithm. While this algorithm supports life-impacting sentencing decisions, it has only predicted 20% of reoccurrence of violent crime correctly. The article noted significant racial disparities. The formula was particularly likely to falsely flag black defendants as future criminals, wrongly labeling them this way at almost twice the rate as white defendants. White defendants were mislabeled as low risk more often than black defendants. Black defendants were still 77% more likely to be pegged as at higher risk of committing a future violent crime and 45% more likely to be predicted to commit a future crime of any kind. And after running a statistical test, this disparity could not be explained by defendants' prior crimes or the type of crimes they were arrested for. As an example, Dylan Foggett and Bernard Parker were both arrested for drug possession. Dylan is a white man with a prior offense of attempted burglary, and Bernard is a black man with a prior offense of resisting arrest without violence. Dylan was given a low risk score of 3, while Bernard was given the maximum score of 10. Dylan reoffended with 3 new drug possession charges, while Bernard never reoffended. Overall, the assessment tool only correctly predicts recidivism 61% of the time, but blacks are almost twice as likely as whites to be labeled a higher risk but not actually reoffend. It makes the opposite mistake among whites. They are much more likely than blacks to be labeled lower risk but go on to commit other crimes. On the false positive side, 44.9% of African Americans who received a high risk score of reoffending did not reoffend, while only 23.5% of white Americans were falsely positive. On the false negative side, only 28% of African Americans who were given a lower risk score reoffend, while 47.7% of white Americans with a low risk did reoffend. This analysis demonstrates how racial biases can be introduced in a decision-making process which has a high impact on people's lives and their ability to rehabilitate or reintegrate into society. It also demonstrates how input variables which do not have a direct reference to race can be used as proxies, leading to racial profiling and introducing biases against the US African American population. The proprietary nature of these models, which are developed by commercial companies, adds to a lack of transparency, and due to the secrecy around these algorithms for commercial reasons, the only reviews and investigations into their functioning are internal and, as such, not independent. We see these biases in AI models present in other life-altering situations, such as in healthcare. The article in Nature.com discusses the millions of Black people who are being put at risk by hospital algorithms that give them lower risk scores than their white counterparts. As a result, they are far less likely to be referred to more catered health care. For example, the risk score was assigned on the basis of total yearly cost. Both Black and white had around the same level of cost. However, when looking closer, Black individuals were far sicker. In reality, the data showed that Black patients were provided $1,000 and $1,800 less in care. 17.7% of total patients who received extra care were Black, while researchers showed that if the algorithm was unbiased, the total number of Black patients would jump up to 46.5%. These couple of examples demonstrate how racial biases can be introduced through the use of AI models and how they can impact lives, chances, and health in a positive way for white Americans and in a negative way for African Americans, perpetuating systematic racism. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.